Hey there, welcome back to Genesis Data. I'm Smahle, and in today's episode, we are joined by Saul, who is a data scientist. He'll be sharing with us his latest project. So let's get started. That's it.
Yeah, so I think the first thing I want to talk about is the project I did for the IBM Data Science Certificate, right? The capstone project. I think I chose that one because that one really took me through all the steps of data science, from data collection to data wrangling to exploratory data analysis to actually building the model, right? So to explain to you what I was actually doing, right, is that we were analyzing SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launches. Right, so we're giving this fake company called Space Y, right? And the goal was to find a commercial strategy, right, to enter the launching market using API data. All of this is publicly accessible, by the way, right? So we used API data, we used web scraping, public sources. And so we identified key patterns in SpaceX's operations, right? That would inform space-wise operations, right? Some of the interesting things we found through the data analysis, right? Exploratory data analysis. So that was done using there was some SQL in there, quite a lot of SQL actually, and also graph visualizations, right? So what we found was that from from 2010 to 2018, SpaceX went from 0% to an 85% success rate. Yeah, that was interesting for me as well. I mean, I
From
don't know
0
how
to
much you
85.
know, but from 0 to 85, yeah. So from 2010 to 2019, they
Damn.
went from 0 to 85
Damn.
success rates.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, quite interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about rocket launching, but I know it's expensive. So everything you send out counts. You know, some interesting things we found as well is that the launch site actually catered for 77% of the success. Yeah, so the launch site that they chose catered for 77% of success, which is also another thing that you wouldn't have expected, right? But that's the cool thing about the exploratory data analysis. Um, some other things that also catered was the payload range. That was also a big contributor to the success. The type of boosters they used, as well as the orbits in which they would go into. So there's multiple orbits coming out of space, coming out of Earth's atmosphere. Um, Again, some technical jargon stuff that doesn't really matter. But we took all of that information and then we ran. I say we because if you take the course, we all did it. You know what I mean? So we ran a predictive analysis on that, taking all those variables. Right. So like I mentioned, you take your payload, you take your launch pad, launch location, you take your orbits, you get all these things, the things that contribute to success, a big determinant of whether something was successful or not. And then you run a predictive analysis on it, right? So we used four different models to test this out. There was logistic regression, there was your k nearest neighbor, there was your support vector classification, and then there was the Bayesian tree decision, right? Um, Turns out that the support vector classifier was actually the best one for the problem. But they all performed really well. Like all got above 80% predictor accuracy on their test score. Yeah, and that was basically the project, man.
The analysis. So it was mostly about the analyzing or analysis this project that you are doing for Space
Yeah,
Y, not SpaceX. But actually,
yeah. For Space Y, it was
yeah.
basically for SpaceX, but I assume they didn't want to get sued.
Yeah, but like when it comes to making these like projects or when it comes to data analysis, I was
Yeah,
surprised that most of the thing or most of the whole story you get from data analysis. When
Yeah.
we're in the same doing the same we're in the same internship, not the same projects, but we're in the same
Yeah.
internship. I was surprised
Yeah.
that most of the work is mostly data analysis, you understanding what
Yeah.
actually is happening there. And you find a
Yeah.
lot of things there. You find very interesting insights, even for you as well. You like finding out that it's went from 0 to 85% in so many years, because it's a lot
Yeah.
of years. And as you said, these are like rockets launching stuff. It takes a lot of money.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm really still surprised with like how much data analysis gives, and also what machine learning as well is able to produce. But
Yeah.
another thing that I want to ask from you, so I know it's
Mm.
not in our scope with our meeting, is that
Yeah.
AI is advancing, right? And it
Yeah.
is advancing very fast, and this means good, and sometimes it means bad for different people in different industries. I want to
Yeah.
know from your side, as someone who is a data scientist, what
Yeah.
effects has AI has done in data science, and what is the future of data science looking at the advancements of AI?
Yeah. Um, it's funny because I'm always listening to podcasts of people answering this question. I may not, I don't know, maybe I'm qualified to answer this question, I guess, you know. But I will say, first thing I want to say for anybody listening is that don't be afraid of AI. You know, if you're solving problems, real world problems, don't be worried about AI. AI is only going to take over the most mundane tasks that you can think of. Um, so if you're solving real world problems, like cracking some serious stuff, personally, I'm into agri tech. I'm working for Loop platform right now. They're into logistics. Like if you're solving real world problems, AI is not like it's not going to replace your job. For as long as you're a factory worker doing, building websites, and I would say be a little bit scared. But if you're using your skills to solve real world problems, you'll be fine. Um, with AI, what has it done for me, and what would it probably do for the data science community? Like 10x dev, man. Like we can all become, okay, maybe for some context, in class, right? We call our crazy programmers, we call them 10x developers, right? Because they can basically get things done 10 times faster. You know what I mean? So with AI, we all become that. I was telling my friend the other day that it feels like I've become more of a project manager, you know, because now you're no longer worried about the syntax and debugging and like debugging and like all that stuff. But now you become someone who sits back and your main focus is, like you mentioned, what's the story? Your main focus is getting the story, getting the information, and building the models. In fact, you don't even have to build the models. I mean, obviously understand how they work, so you can understand what they spit out, and how to interpret what they spit out. But you just become, like I said, you become a project manager with a team of one person. That being your ChatGPT or your Claude or your Gemini, whatever you use. Um, yeah, man, that's I think that's what I would say. I think it just goes to a place of prompt engineering, prompting the things you want to see. So instead of me like memorizing how I can build some kind of visualization for whatever it is, just ask chat to build a prompt. And, as you're building the prompts, you're thinking about other things that you'd also like to see, and so you end up having this, like I said, this employee who's basically working for you. And now your main focus is coming up with the ideas, which is also great because a lot of the time you can also use these LLMs as a I would say as a sounding board to your ideas. They contribute to them as well, and to consolidate your way of thinking. So if anything, I would say be excited for AI. You know, uh, take it in, man. Use it. Like there's this saying that goes around that like AI won't replace you, but the people who use AI will, you know. And like I said, domain knowledge is just as important because you also need to know if this thing is spitting out nonsense, right? I think that's just a safety check. So you do need to be at least knowledgeable in the field. But yeah, man, I wouldn't say don't be afraid of AI. Use AI to the max. Get the subscription. Crazy rewards, man. Crazy returns. And yeah, but then also still get the fundamentals in your head.
No, definitely, because um, the thing is that AI is there as a tool, right? And when
Yeah,
you have no knowledge of how to use a tool, maybe let's say a shovel, as for example, and
yeah,
you do not know how to use it, it will be very hard for you yeah, like to use it well. Or even when it comes to a
yeah,
calculator, it's important
yeah,
to understand the fundamentals or the science behind it, and so that you
yeah.
can be able to use it properly. Because when
Exactly.
you are in a situation where you don't understand how it works and you are like using it too much, you will get like a lot of false information and you won't have understanding. You won't be able to
Yeah,
explain even the code that you have used, even the
yeah,
insights that it's bringing, you won't be able to understand it, which is something
yeah.
I won't lie, I was trapped into as well. But
Mm,
coming to the internship that I got, I was able to see
mm,
that actually you won't be able to just find solutions. You
yeah,
have to have reasoning towards it.
yeah,
You have to
yeah,
have like steps towards what you are trying to do. You can't just rely on AI alone. You have to go
yeah,
through the steps and understand the logic behind it. So
yeah,
that's yeah, what you have shared is really important, especially to students, because they are panicking right now.
yeah,
Some are saying, "Hey, oh, computer science is cooked. It's bad.
yeah. Ah,
The job market is bad." Yeah, yeah.
nah,
But yes, the job market is bad, but I don't think it's because of AI. I think it's because we are not skilling out we are not having the skills required
yeah,
for the industry you know
yeah, yeah,
so I think it's important for us to know these tools and understand them and
yeah,
know how to use them you know
yeah, yeah.
yeah
No, I completely agree, man. Um, you know, I'm a believer of Christ, and God will present you with the opportunities when you're ready. And I think a lot of it. Another thing my uncle likes saying is that everybody wants to be around the winner. You know, so if you spend your time upskilling, like you said, like upskilling, you post about what you're doing, you contact people, you do all these things, like the doors are going to open, you know. It's almost inevitable. There's no substitution for hard work. There's no substitute for hard work, you know. Yeah, yeah, I just agree with you, man.
no really that's really good, man, especially when it comes to hard work. I really believe in hard work. But I also believe a lot when it comes to connections, or not really connections, but networking. I don't know. The word
Yeah.
connection is doesn't sound good these days. It's like, hey, connections. No, networking with people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, connections.
connections, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing. What will you be working on moving forward? So, with your moving forward, what are you working on?
I'm working on some exciting stuff, man. I'm working with a good friend of mine, Deshi Dan, Shibambu. You can check him out. Um, Amazing guy, man. We both come from a background of agriculture. So we're working on some solutions, industry-wide solutions in that field. Heavily dependent on machine learning. You see, that's another thing where people are like, no, AI is taking over the jobs and all that jazz, or this AI like trend. You know, if you've noticed, a lot of these guys are just like ChatGPT raps. You know, as well as for the people listening at home, artificial intelligence is such a large field. Like, there's so much you can do in it. You know what I mean? So our side is machine learning, working on some machine learning projects for the agri-tech world. Yeah, as well as obviously my honors project, which I'm also excited about. So that one's machine learning involved in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Again, I can't talk about that right now, but I will be posting about it later on when at the end of the year when it's all said and done. Yeah, man, it's working on some exciting stuff. Pretty excited to show people.
No, definitely. We will check it out on your LinkedIn page as well. Your new updates as well. Um, yeah, you said you're on honors. Sorry, now I'm
Yeah,
saying that we are ending, but we are not ending. But you said you're on honors. Would you say
yeah,
like going for honors is really worth it? You know, I'm asking this because I'm a final year student, and
mm,
I see a lot of panic again when it comes
mm,
to students in
yeah,
here at university. They'll be like, should I do honors? Should I not do
yeah,
honors?
yeah,
Is it worth it? Do I get more job opportunities by doing honors, or is it important? What's important is me doing certificates that give me the
yeah.
experience. What would you say on that?
I mean, in anything, Sivaki, I'll tell you, in anything you do in life, look at your 5 year plan, right? Look at your 5 year plan, visualize where you want to be, and let that guide your next steps. I'll tell you, honors is great, but honors is great for me, for my 5 year plan. That might not be the case for the next guy or the guy next to him or the lady, you know. But I will tell you the benefits of honors. I'll tell you the benefits of honors. From what I've gauged, this is what, month 6, month 7. I would say independence. Independence is a major one. You learn a lot of independence as opposed to your undergrad, because in undergrad, everyone's holding your hand. You've got the tutorials, you've got like all that stuff. But in honors, like you get 2 lectures a week. You know, they throw a bunch of readings your way, like scientific readings. You have a few assignments, and you have an exam. That's it. That's kind of the trend. And in the readings, you learn how to read complicated stuff. Like when you're reading this stuff, you're like, this is stuff that's happening today. When you're doing undergrad, it's like you're using textbooks that are like, we've been teaching the same things for the past 20 years. But in honors, you're doing stuff that's happening, relevant stuff that's happening today in industry. Then again, there's your research project as well, which teaches you how to research, which is incredibly important in our field. Our field is always changing, constantly changing. So you need to be able to research, dude. Like research the newest technologies, research the newest models, run scientific experiments. And they throw you into the deep end, man. These complicated things. Like a year ago, my biggest problem was a sorting algorithm. Like trying to find the most efficient sorting algorithm for a problem. Now I'm like talking about building models and running experiments on the high performance computers. You know what I mean? Like industries, like skills that will actually benefit you in the real world. So much so that I've decided that I need to do my master's. Because in your master's you go a step forward now. Now you're working with people in industry. You're working with research institutions, and like if you're entrepreneur minded like myself, that opens a lot of doors for you. Amongst you also getting this fundamental, you know, knowledge of the art that you're studying. Yeah, so I would say I would vouch for it. I would say do your honors, do your masters, go as far as your masters. Also, to give you an example, how many people in your class right now, Sebastian? Do you know? Okay,
Sorry.
let me give you
You said what? How many
how
people in
how
the
many people?
class?
Yeah, how many people in your class right now?
I don't know, maybe around 200. I don't
Okay,
know.
right.
Yeah.
In your honors class, there will be like there'll be like 50 of you, 50, 60 of you.
There'll be 50
Yeah, right. There'll be
because
around
people will
50
be
of you,
leaving, going to
right?
try and find work, and yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then how many of you will be there in your master's class, you think?
very few again.
Yeah, very few, probably like 10, right?
Damn. Yeah.
So think about going in industry. If you leave school right now, there's 200 people from your
Going,
university alone with your qualifications going into market.
yeah. There are 200
You
people
know,
searching for the same job I'm searching for.
the same job you're searching for, the same qualification.
Yeah.
You go a step forward, okay, now there's 60 of you guys. You go 50 of you guys. You go a step forward, and now there's only 10 of you guys. You get what I mean?
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, exactly. Also, just so that's also just something to think about because
Yeah.
and the population is constantly growing, man. Because a long time ago, doing honors was like a big accomplishment. It was massive. Now it's almost like something they expect from you.
Something they
Sooner or
expect.
later,
Damn.
masters is going to end up that way.
Yeah.
As the population grows and knowledge becomes more accessible. So I would say get ahead of the curve, man.
Definitely. No, that's
Yeah,
really good advice, so man. You,
yeah, no problem, bro.
especially when it comes to you knowing your 5 year plan, you knowing,
Yeah,
understanding what do you want in the next in the future, and understanding how the job markets works. That there are a lot of people, you really put us into perspective of saying that there are a lot of people going for that position because it's not only DUT. I mean DUT.
yeah,
There's UKZN, there's MUT, there's UJ. All of these people will be going for
yeah,
the same job opportunity. So what makes you different? What
yeah,
skills do you have? And you having a lot of education and a lot of understanding, even when it comes to research, that makes you stand out. And
yeah,
that's what I took out the most from what you said. But thank you so much, Saul,
yeah,
man. I don't want for us to take too long because we play in
yeah.
15 minutes. Thank you so much. Yeah, have a good day.
Uh,